Good day, listeners, and I'm so happy to welcome everybody to this podcast episode that is sponsored by the United Society of Erudites Nigeria, United Language Initiatives Colombia, and the Conscientization Movement Zimbabwe. The topic of today's podcast is most famous ability of the current 21st century. And my name as a podcaster of today's episode is Celestine Senyo Ruben. I'm the president of the United Society of Erudite Nigeria, the vice president of both the United Languages Initiative and the Conscientization Movement. Progressing to the next level of tertiary education seems tough for Genesis, unlike the previous levels. The University of Jupiter on the 4th day of the 8th month uploaded a calendar for the new section. The second year of Genesis 5-year study of mass communication on the student portal and also on each departmental notice board. Genesis is passionate about creative writing, speaking, and mass communication. It was the first day of the 9th month. The fabulous optical beholding of the University of Jupiter, such as the 7th-floor built Senate office, fast food joint at each faculty, excellently equipped science research laboratories, and technical workshops, to mention a few, placed the citadel of learning at a favorable edge for an average student to develop themselves educationally. The first lecture of the second year is fast approaching as the time is 7:48 a.m. on a Tuesday, creating slight trepidation in Genesis as she had no idea about the content of the course and how enormous assignments would be, coupled with information disseminated about Dr. Francis, the lecturer, to take the first class in few minutes and his style of teaching. Students began trooping in with books occupying the armpits, while some were in the back pockets of their trousers. Behind a glass window curtain of the classroom, a non-lucid image of a human walking towards the door of the classroom was seen by Genesis, tall and skinny. It was Dr. Francis entering the classroom, fair in complexion, skinny, with the right nostril larger in diameter slightly than the left, and a wider dental cleft between the upper incisors than between the lower incisors. "Good morning, class," Dr. Francis greeted. "Good morning, sir." Class exchanged pleasantries. Dr. Francis is a graduate of the University of Jupiter who was retained as a student to be a lecturer after his postgraduate studies. Dr. Francis lectures information and communication technology. Does anyone have an idea about the current system of education of this century at the global level? Dr. Francis asked the class. Facial expressions from the audience indicated ambiguity and confusion. A both-limbed, hairy male student who sat beside Genesis so closely got a phalangeal tap from her as she asked whisperingly, Is the lecturer a professor of history or political science or Ban Ki-moon's closest friend? The hairy student never answered Genesis to avoid side-talking, an offensive tool of distraction. Dr. Francis continued his introductory lecture by asking another question. What is the most famous ability of the current 21st century? The class sunk into a pool of confusion. Genesis began staring at Dr. Francis with a facial narrative of an assassin who came to announce on a radio show how experienced he is. "I am going to try my best and pass this course at the end of the semester, but what ability could be famous in this current 21st century? Could it be Yahoo Yahoo or Yahoo Plus?" Genesis soliloquized while staring at Dr. Francis as he continues lecturing. The point of the story is to reveal the needfulness of the most famous ability of the current 21st century, which is the digital ability or digital skill. Honestly, everyone aspires for and desires greatness. Edges are being built, but digital skills is also needed to fasten your developmental career-wise. To fasten your development career-wise. The word ability crowns it all. Digital skills are a hierarchical set of abilities to use digital devices in accessing information. Note that it is an ability. Functional and significant instances in digital skills include youth employability, leadership capacity, and entrepreneurship. These instances meet the current 21st century most famous ability. Youth employability is a set of abilities that point out achievements, understanding, and personal attributes that makes youth more likely to gain employment. These are also abilities. Entrepreneurship is the activity of setting up a business and taking financial risks in hoping for profit. And it is known that the activities required to set up the business are on the premise of abilities. Leadership or leadership capacity is the ability to serve or an act or office of servanthood. Therefore, leadership capacity is the ability that determines the result you achieve, how much you can do, how far you can go, how well you have done, still doing, and will still do. It all boils down to abilities. From the view of youth employability, digital skills are needed to streamline the working process of youth, either as a starter or a professional. It is also needed to generate leads for utilizing opportunities. Examples of digital skills needed in the youth employability include web analytics, social media marketing and engagement, digital marketing, and mobile application operations. From the view of entrepreneurship, digital skills are needed to break limitations around or attached to brands. Also, it is needed for businesses to move from a superficial level of operation to a deeper one, customer-wise, innovation-wise, and product or service-wise. Examples of digital skills needed in entrepreneurship include copywriting, virtual communication, social media marketing, and user experience, to mention a few. From the view of leadership capacity, digital skills are needed to incite a revolution which may certainly predispose to delegate more responsibility to followers, resiliently evolving during changing times, and increment in productivity from the local to the global level. Examples of digital skills needed in leadership capacity include social media engagement, computational skills such as data analysis, and virtual communication skills, to mention a few. It is very important to know that your passion, mission, profession, and vocation need the digital skills to spread your wings across continents, particularly in this time that we are. When you are empowered with these skills, never would you be a scalar quantity or personality that has magnitude but no direction, but rather a vector quantity or personality that possesses magnitude and direction in this time that we are. Thank you for listening.